Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
The way the world gets its energy is changing very fast. Solar panels are becoming very important for this change. A big competition is now happening between countries. This competition will decide who controls the future of energy for many years. China is a very strong leader in making solar panels. It makes about 80 to 85% of all solar panels in the world. China has built a huge system for making solar panels. It controls every step, from the start of making materials to the final product. This makes Chinese solar panels very cheap. It is very difficult for other countries to compete with China's low prices. South Korea used to be good at making solar panels. Now its solar companies are struggling. South Korea's part of the solar market is very small today. But South Korea has a new and bold plan. It wants to develop a very new kind of solar cell. This new technology is called a tandem cell. South Korea hopes this new idea will help it become a leader in solar energy again. This is a big risk for South Korea. This story will look closely at this important competition. It is happening in science labs, factories, and in trade talks. The year is late 2025. This race is more than just about business. It is about who will lead in new technology. It is about how countries support their industries. It is about the future of clean energy for everyone. This book will ask big questions. Can a new, better technology truly win against a country that makes things on a huge scale and very cheaply? Can governments really help their companies choose the best technology and win global markets? What will this mean for all the people who need clean, affordable energy around the world? This story is about who will lead the clean energy future. 2. China's big power. China is a very big power in the world of solar panels. It makes most of the solar panels used around the globe. About 80 to 85% of all solar panels come from China. This means that if you see a solar panel almost anywhere, it most likely has parts from China. How did China get so powerful? One big reason is that it controls the whole process of making solar panels. This means China manages everything. It starts from getting the raw materials, like polysilicon. Then it makes those materials into wafers. After that, it turns the wafers into solar cells. Finally, it puts all the cells together to make the finished solar modules. This full control from start to finish is called vertical integration. This way of working gives Chinese companies a huge advantage. They can make solar panels much more cheaply than other countries. Because they control every step, they can save money at each part of the process. This makes their panels very hard for other companies to compete with on price. It is difficult for smaller companies or companies from other countries to match these low costs. China also builds many big factories. These large factories can make a huge number of solar panels. When you make a lot of something, the cost for each item goes down. This is called economies of scale. China has invested a lot of money into these big factories. This helps them keep prices low and makes them a very strong competitor. Not only are Chinese panels cheap, but they are also good quality. In the past, some thought Chinese products were only cheap. But now, Chinese companies also offer good technology and reliable products. They compete on how well their panels work and how long they last, not just on price. Even in South Korea, a country that used to be good at making solar panels, Chinese products are dominant. In 2019, about 38% of solar cells in South Korea were from China. But by 2024, this number grew a lot. Now, 95% of solar cells used in South Korea come from Chinese companies. South Korea's own production of solar cells has become very small, only about 4%. This shows how strong China's power is in the solar panel market. China's control over the supply chain and its large factories make it a very powerful player in clean energy for the world. 3. South Korea's big problem. South Korea once had strong companies that made solar panels. But now, many of these companies are struggling badly. The country's solar industry faces a big problem. A few years ago, South Korea made a good share of its own solar cells. By 2019, around 38% of the solar cells used in South Korea came from China. But this changed very quickly. By 2024, the amount of Chinese solar cells in South Korea jumped to 95%. This meant South Korean companies made only 4% of the solar cells used in their own country. For the first time, their share dropped to a single number. One reason for this big change was the South Korean government's own energy plan. The government wanted to use much more solar power to help the environment. To do this quickly, they needed the cheapest solar panels available. Often, these cheap panels came from China. This policy, meant to help South Korea go green, actually helped Chinese companies more than Korean ones. The government wanted to install a lot of solar capacity, but it did not protect its own companies. A leader in the Korean solar industry shared his worry. He said that losing the market for solar modules was because they could not make them cheaply enough. But losing the market for solar cells was a sign of falling behind in technology. He felt the very foundations of South Korea's solar industry were now shaking. This shows that China was not just selling cheaper products. Chinese companies also improved their technology, making good quality and efficient solar cells that South Korean companies found hard to match. This situation has put South Korea's solar industry in a serious crisis. The country is looking for new ways to compete, as its old methods are not working anymore. 4. A new hope for South Korea. South Korea, facing big challenges in the solar market, has started a new plan. Instead of trying to make the same old solar panels as cheaply as China, they are trying a different path. Their hope lies in a new kind of solar cell called a tandem cell. Normal solar panels use one layer of silicon to turn sunlight into electricity. These panels can usually change about 22 to 24% of sunlight into power. But tandem cells use two layers. They put a special material called perovskite on top of a regular silicon cell. This special design helps the cells catch more of the sun's light spectrum. The perovskite layer catches blue light, and the silicon layer underneath catches red and infrared light. By doing this, tandem cells can make much more electricity from the same amount of sunlight. Scientists believe tandem cells could become up to 44% efficient. This would be nearly double what normal silicon cells can do. Already, in labs, Korean researchers have made tandem cells that are 29.4% efficient by late 2025. This higher efficiency means that a panel can produce more power even if it is small. For homes or places with limited space, this is a very important improvement. This new tandem cell technology is still quite new, and no company or country has become a big leader yet. This gives South Korea a chance to be the first. If they can make these cells well and at a good price, they could lead the market. Hanwha Q Cells, a main solar company in South Korea, is working hard on this. Their new tandem cell achieved an efficiency of 28.6% in 2024. This cell has also passed important international tests for its quality and how long it lasts. The South Korean government is also giving strong support. They have provided money for research and development to help improve these tandem cells. The goal is to start selling these new cells soon, hoping to reach an efficiency of 35% for cells and 28% for modules within 5 years. This effort shows South Korea's big bet on new technology to become a major player in the world's clean energy future. 5. China fights back. China, already the world's biggest maker of solar panels, is not staying still. Its powerful companies are now changing how they compete. For a long time, Chinese solar companies fought hard on prices, always trying to make panels cheaper than anyone else. But this period of fierce price competition is coming to an end. Major solar companies like LONGi and Jinko Solar showed this big change in late 2025. They had many legal fights about different solar cell technologies, but they made an important agreement to stop these disputes. They decided to share their key patents with each other. This move was a clear sign. They realized that always fighting internally was making their industry weaker. By working together, they could become much stronger global leaders in the big shift to clean energy. This new plan means a large investment in new technology. These companies will put much more money into research and development. Their goal is to quickly bring advanced solar technologies to market. This includes next-generation cells such as heterojunction, HJT, and perovskite cells. China wants to lead with cutting-edge technology, not just by making products at a low cost. Chinese companies are also very busy developing their own tandem cells, which is the new technology South Korea is betting on. In June 2025, LONGi announced a big success. They created large tandem cells that reached a record 33% efficiency. This shows that China has strong skills in innovation. This new efficiency level was even higher than South Korea's first results. It proves that China can compete at the highest level in these new solar technologies. Because China has many resources, it can work on several new technology types at the same time. This helps reduce the risk if one technology does not become popular. The Chinese government is also looking closely at the solar industry. It wants to stop too much low-price competition, which can harm companies' profits. This new focus on better quality and advanced technology means China wants to be the clear leader in future solar power. It aims to lead the world with new ideas and strong innovation, not just with low prices and large factories. This strategy ensures China plans to stay ahead in the global race for clean energy leadership. 6. A world of walls. The world of solar panels started to change in a new way. Some countries put up walls against panels from China. These walls were high taxes, also called tariffs. For example, the United States of America put very high taxes on Chinese solar products. In early 2025, under the administration of President Donald Trump, these taxes could be as high as 70% on direct imports from China. Some solar products coming from Southeast Asia, often made with Chinese parts, faced even higher taxes, making them very expensive. These new rules changed the global competition for clean energy. South Korea found a way to work with these new rules. Hanwha Q-Cells, a big South Korean company, already had a large factory in the USA. This important factory was in the state of Georgia. It was called a solar hub and could make different parts of solar panels, like cells and modules. Because their solar panels were made in America, Hanwha Q-Cells did not have to pay the high U.S. taxes. In fact, the U.S. government even gave them a large loan, about $1.45 billion, to help finish this big factory. This meant South Korean products could get special benefits and sell well in the USA. Chinese companies, even with these new tariffs, did not give up. They started to build many new factories outside of China to get around the rules. They built them in countries like Turkey, Oman, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, and India. Some Chinese companies also expanded production in Southeast Asia. By making solar panels in these different places, Chinese companies could avoid the high U.S. taxes and other trade barriers. This way, they could still compete in many parts of the world. These walls and new factories showed how the solar market was changing fast. Countries wanted to protect their own businesses and workers. This also meant that companies had to change their plans for where they made their products. Moving factories to new countries increased costs for Chinese companies, but it was a necessary step to continue selling globally. This era of trade walls meant that making solar panels was not just about having the best technology or the lowest price. It was also about where the panels were made and what taxes they had to pay. 7. A big question for the future. A very important question is growing louder. Can a new, powerful idea truly beat a giant company that sells its products at very low prices? This is the main puzzle in the solar panel world. South Korea is trying to win with a new, stronger type of solar cell. China still controls most of the market because it can make many panels cheaply. South Korea's plan is to lead with new technology. They are working on tandem solar cells, which can make much more energy from the sun. The South Korean government is helping its companies a lot. For example, they have given 33.6 billion Korean won, which is about 22.8 million US dollars, for research into these new cells. Their goal is to be the first to sell them and make them very efficient. China is not just making cheap panels anymore. Its big companies are also changing their plans. They used to fight each other on prices, but now they are working together more on new technologies. Companies like LONGi and Jinko Solar have agreed to stop fighting over old patents and instead invest more money in research and development for new types of cells, including tandem cells. China wants to be the leader in new technology, not just in making things cheaply. China is also working on different kinds of new solar cells at the same time, spreading its bets across many options. So, the question is not simple. Both countries' governments are actively helping their companies. South Korea is betting big on one special technology, hoping it will be the clear winner. But what if another technology becomes popular instead? Or what if many different kinds of new solar cells are used? China's approach is to develop several types of advanced cells at once, which might be less risky if one type does not work out. Another challenge is that new technologies like tandem cells need to work well for a long time. Solar panels must last for 25 years or more outside in different weather. Making sure these new, more complex cells are reliable is a big job. Also, China continues to make its older solar panel technology better and more efficient, so the gap might not be as wide as South Korea hopes. Even with these efforts, countries like the USA, under the Trump administration, have put high taxes on Chinese solar panels. This changes where companies build their factories and sell their products. South Korean companies like Hanwha Q-Cells have factories in the USA, which helps them avoid these taxes. This shows that governments can use rules to change the game. But can any government really know which technology will be the best one for the future? This remains a big question. 8. The end of the story. The race between China and South Korea for solar panels is very important for everyone. It is more than just about two countries. It is about new ideas, how countries manage their industries, and how we get energy for our future. Solar energy is growing fast. It is becoming cheaper than old energy sources like coal. This is good because better and cheaper solar panels can help us fight climate change. They can make our planet cleaner. But the future is not clear. There are still many questions. The new Tandem cells from South Korea look promising in labs. They can make more power from the sun. But can they be made in big numbers? Will they work well for 25 years outside? We do not know yet if they will be strong enough for a long time. These cells are new and complex. Making them work perfectly on a large scale is a big challenge. At the same time, China is not stopping. Their current silicon solar cells are getting better all the time. Companies like Jinko Solar and Longi are making them more powerful. They can now reach high efficiency levels. If China makes its existing technology much better and keeps it very cheap, they might still lead the market. Even if tandem cells are very good, China's cheaper strong cells could still be the choice for many buyers. This competition also affects where solar panels are made for the whole world. If one country makes almost all solar panels, it can be risky. If there are problems in that country, other countries might not get enough solar panels. So having different countries make them, like South Korea and its factories in the USA, can make the global energy supply stronger. It helps make sure we always have enough clean energy. So the story of solar energy is still being written. This race is changing how we think about power. Will South Korea's new technology win over big factories and very low prices from China? Or will China's existing ways get even better and keep their strong lead? The answers will shape how we power our homes, schools, and cities for many years to come. What do you think will happen? Will South Korea's new cells change everything, or will China keep its strong lead?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world.